But look at Amit Malviya, look at what the Godi media is saying, that, even Gautam Adani paid bribes to the Congress governments. They have the
Mhm,
gall to say this, that, they are
mhm.
trying to brush away the entire matter by saying that, since Rahul Gandhi held a press conference, so now they are saying that he paid bribes to the Congress governments as well. And the Congress also needs to answer on this. Now, what would you say to a reaction like this?
Neelu, let me tell you, the BJP IT cell is like Joseph Goebbels during the Nazi regime. They are masters at disinformation, misinformation, fake news. This is their whole uh, foundational strength. This is how they have fooled India for all these years. You know, this guy, I mean, the person's name that you took, you see the allegations against him where he's blatantly spread vicious news to polarize communities and damage people's reputations. Let me answer the question. He forgot to tell you that the BJD and the Andhra government are not Congress governments. They are opposition governments who were your alliance. They were your alliance in the parliament. They voted for you in parliament. They stood
Absolutely.
by you on every. They supported you on the no confidence mission or no confidence motion, which is anyway mission, by the way. So the truth, Neelu, is this: that Mr. Modi's government has to answer as to who were the people in the bureaucracy or in the politics of these states who was involved. Now they're talking about states like Chhattisgarh because Chhattisgarh at that time was was under the Congress government.
Yeah.
Why is Mr. Malviya not telling the people that that report also mentions the Jammu and Kashmir government, which was under President's rule, reporting to Delhi under Mr. Modi's nose? Can Mr. Malviya and the BJP answer that question? There is another, let me tell you another. The larger issue is that Rajasthan and Maharashtra, and you should see the reporters' collective investigation. Rajasthan and Maharashtra, both under the BJP, very recently came out with the same solar tender power contracts, extremely similar, making conditions very easy for Mr. Adani to get those contracts. Mr. Adani's group actually got the Rajasthan contract, and it is this expose that made the Rajasthan government do a sudden, kind of backtracking on its original call. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, we all know what's going on with the Dharavi development project. And to the best of my knowledge, the Adani group remains a front runner here as well. What does it tell you? That it's not about who all got the bribe. I mean, obviously, Mr. Modi's government should have known it before the SEC told you. Let me ask this question of the entire BJP. Did you need the SEC or the Department of Justice in America to tell you that Adani's group was actually making, kind of kickbacks and or cutting deals to get the power contracts? Why weren't these investigated earlier by India's investigating agencies? Because Mr.
Absolutely.
Adani has got a carte blanche. He's just like literally running his own empire here in India. Everybody who's followed the group's growth will look at two data points to tell you how Mr. Modi's government has allowed these to happen. The man's market capitalization goes up from 4 billion in 2014 when Mr. Modi became prime minister to 10 billion in 2020, 76 billion in 21, and 152 in 22. Mr. Adani's wealth at one point of time, 85% of them came in 3 years between 2020 to 2022. And the SEBI was like, everything is okay. Well, it's not okay. And let me tell you, Neelu, the other point. In 2022, India's market capitalization in terms of the stock market growth, 85%, 80 to 85% was contributed by one group. I mean, you don't have to be a genius or a commerce graduate. You don't even have to be a matriculate to know that this is farcical and there is an underlying fraudulent uh, color that needs to be probed forensically. So I think, to cut the long story short, don't waste your time in what the BJP says. They will try and deflect it. They have been batting for him in any case because remember, Nilu, in protecting Adani, they're basically trying to protect Narendra Modi, India's prime minister.
Absolutely, bang on. And since you are a guy who is clued into finance and the corporate sector, Sanjay, what could be the financial implications as far as this U.S. indictment is concerned on the Indian corporate sector, on the Indian stock market? What kind of a fallout do you see in the coming days now? Because this is a very serious issue. It's a big development, which apparently BJP is just trying to brush it aside and just giving wishy-washy answers. But what kind of implication it will have on the corporate and the financial sector?
Well, I can tell you once again, the BJP here, I believe, are damaged extremely humongously in their mission to protect the prime minister. They had to do that in the Rafale case. They're doing it here as well. Be it as that may, the fact of the matter is that this will have an impact on the Adani group for sure. You saw how their stock price crashed today. This is not just what we call as a bear or somebody which is in the business of short selling, putting out a report because somebody accused them of having a motivational element in their research report. This is the SEC. This is the New York Federal Court. This is the Department of Justice. This is like the US government telling the Indian government that you're the richest man in India, or one of the two richest men in India, has committed serious violations of the American law, which, by the way, prohibits you from paying money and indulging in
Yes.
any cash deals to win contracts. There are severe consequences. By the way, let me tell you, Enron, which was one of the biggest electricity majors once upon a time, actually folded up because of the same issues, as did Arthur Anderson because they were the auditors. I
Yeah.
can tell you that you can possibly see a similar spin happening here. I'm not going to predict what's going to happen tomorrow. Mr. Modi's government is going to bat for Adani because their life now depends on it. But this is now totally beyond their control. They cannot control this anymore. This will take a legal uh, definition. I do believe that the Americans here will follow this to its logical conclusion. You found that Mr. Adani has raised a lot of money on the backdrop of falsification of records. If the Americans could take Donald Trump to the cleaners, a former president to the cleaners, and by the way, Mr. Trump may get certain immunity, presidential immunity, but even now it's a potential, shall we say, circumstance where he may have to still go to courts. That's the transparency that, like it or not, America has for all its other flaws. So the truth is, Mr. Adani has not yet seen the last of the courts of law. And I think what Rahul Gandhi said today is pertinent. Does Mr. Modi's government care for India's reputation, or does it care for its own image, the prime minister's battered and bruised credibility, and an attempt here, or rather in an attempt to try and protect what appears to be a completely tarnished, stigmatized brand of Gautam Adani? We'll see which way Mr. Modi and Mr. Adani go, but Rahul Gandhi has a point. Mr. Modi and Mr. Adani are so deep down in this cesspool of murky politics that I think they're going to find it hard to extricate themselves. Can I make one point, Neelu, before you ask me the next question? Link this up to what Ajit Pawar said recently in Maharashtra,
Yes.
that Gautam Adani was sitting in meetings with Amit Shah and Devendra Fadnavis to topple the Maha Vikas Aghadi government when we were looking at forming that in 2019. Not just that, the meetings were being held in the house. You think Mr. Adani doesn't have a whole black diary on the BJP? I don't think the BJP is going to get itself easily, shall we say, extricated from this extremely repugnant mess that they have created for themselves, and there should be consequences for it.
Stay ahead with our cutting edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.